Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ba'd. This day, Yawm al-Jum'ah, Laylat al-Sabt, 29th of Rajab, 1424 years after the migration of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from Mecca to Medina, in agreement with the 26th of September 2003, we study once again the monumental work, Shar al-Aqidah Wasittiyah, the explanation of Aqidah Wasittiyah, by Sheikh Abdullah, Muhammad and Salih al-Uthaymin. We started kind of late, so in the brief amount of time that we have, rather than doing review, which we usually try to do, we will go to the subject, inshallah. And first thing that he started with last time we were together is that he said that those two aspects of Tawheed that we previously took, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, Tawheed of Allah Ta'ala and His Lordship, and Tawheed in Allah and the Tawheed of Allah Ta'ala and al-Ibadah, the fact that Allah alone should be worshipped, that nobody really argued or debated about these issues. This was not something that people disagreed about, but rather everybody believed in these two aspects of Tawheed except for a few individuals. And he gave us some examples of them. He gave us an example of the Shia and how they followed the Saba'iyyah, Abdullah ibn Sabah, and like this. He gave us some examples of that. And he said these are the people who went astray in this area, that in reality very few people went astray in this area other than them. Everybody else was and understood the issue that the oneness of Allah Ta'ala and His Lordship, and the oneness of Allah Ta'ala and the fact that He alone should be worshipped. But, as he said, al-Qism al-Salih, the third aspect of Tawheed, in the way that he's putting it or laying it out, Tawheed al-Asma wa-Sifat, the Tawheed of Allah Ta'ala in His names and His qualities, or His characteristics, His names and His qualities. هذا هو الذي كثر فيه الخوض. This is where there was a lot of discussion and a lot of debate and a lot of arguing and a lot of deviancy in this particular aspect of Tawheed, Tawheed al-Asma wa Sifat. فانقسم الناس, the people split, إلى ثلاثة أقسام, into three branches. Regarding what? Regarding the oneness of Allah Ta'ala in His names and qualities. The oneness of Allah Ta'ala in His names and qualities. These people split into three groups. وهم, and those three groups are Mumathal, the one who wants to say that Allah Ta'ala is similar to His creatures, that Allah is like His creation. This is Mumathal. One who wants to say that Allah is like humans and humans are like Allah. Mumathal. That's one group. When it came to Tawheed al-Sifat, this was their approach. The other, or the second group, is Mu'attal. This is the one who did ta'atil. He wants to deny, they can't hear. He wants to deny the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala. He wants to deny the names and attributes of Allah Ta'ala. He doesn't want to confirm for Allah any name or any quality. Or he wants to play with them in some shape, fashion, or form to make them suit what he thinks is in accordance with his intelligence. Mu'attal. And the last group being those who are mu'tadil, who are upright and just and correct in their belief. And those are those upon the way to Salih. Those are Ahl al-Athar, Ahl al-Hadith, Ahl al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah. They are the ones believing in the qualities as they should be believed in, without any deviancy whatsoever. Wal-Mu'attal, the one who denies the names and qualities of Allah, he's one of two types. He's a Mukaddib, one who denies and belies and rejects the quality, or he's Muharraf, one who deviates and plays and changes the qualities. I'll say that again. The Mu'attal, don't get caught up in the names. It's the one who denies the names and qualities of Allah. He's between two types of individuals. He is of, rather, two types of individuals. Either he's one who's rejects and belies, believe that the names and qualities of Allah are a lie, and he rejects them. He doesn't affirm or confirm or believe in any of them. Or he's somebody who plays with them. Muharraf. Changes their meaning. Say that the hand of Allah don't mean the hand of Allah, it means the power. Say that the mercy of Allah don't mean the mercy of Allah, it means this. Playing with them, giving them a meaning other than what they have so that it suits his foolishness and his low level of understanding and belief in the matters regarding Allah Ta'ala. وَأَوَّلَ الْبِدْعَةِ, the first innovation that came into this ummah was the bid'ah of the Khawarij. Al-Khawarij, those who went out, those who revolted. Because the head of them came out against the Prophet ﷺ. His name was Dhul Khuwaysirah from Bani Tamim. Dhul Khuwaysirah at-Tamimi. When the Prophet ﷺ had been given some gold that had came from the Muslims, from battles or whatever, and he came to split it and separate it between the people, this man said to him, listen to the audacity, Ya Muhammad, i'dil. O Muhammad, be just. Someone says this to a prophet. Someone says this to the messenger of Allah. Is there anyone on the face of the earth more just than him? Ya Muhammad, i'dil. Be just. فكان هذا أول خروج خرج به على الشريعة الإسلامية. This is the first time someone went out against the legislation of Islam. Then that fitna became greater in the end of the Khilafah of Uthaymin and the fitna between Ali and Muawiyah. فكفر المسلمين, they decided, the Khawarij, to declare the Muslims as disbelievers and to say that their blood was lawful. To declare the Muslims as disbelievers and declare their blood as lawful, meaning you can kill anyone you wanted. Their blood was lawful. This is the Khawarij. Then came the Qadariyyah. Sheikh has given us a little brief understanding of the Biddah, the chronology of Biddah, how Biddah came about in this ummah. After the Khawarij, he said, then came the Qadariyyah, Majusi. The Mujus of this ummah, they call the Mujus of this ummah. Right? Because the Mujus are fire worshippers. And they believe in a God of darkness and a God of light. Right? So they worship two gods. The Qadari, since they deny the decree, they are saying that men create their own actions. So therefore they are affirming two gods, Allah himself, and then the men or individuals who create their own actions. This is why they're called the Ma'ajus. The Ma'ajus are the Persians. The worst, those who did not enter Islam amongst them, they were the millah that they were upon in Persia, Ma'ajus, fire worshippers, worshipping the fire. Horrible belief to have, and to this day you have some amongst them. These individuals who denied the Qadr said, Allah Ta'ala lam yuqaddir af'al ibad. He did not decree the actions of the people. And it doesn't enter in the will of Allah. And they are not created by Him. But the head of them used to say that what is happening upon earth or what is happening amongst the creatures is not even known by Allah. Nor is it even written in His preserved tablet. And Allah did not know what the people would do until they did it. They say, Al-Amr Unuf. This is bid'ah. This is deviancy. He's just letting us know from a historical standpoint how these groups came about. How these matters came about. Al-Amr Unuf. The matter is not decreed. And it is something that just the people doing their own, and Allah has nothing to do with it. Of course, the last of the Sahaba met these individuals. In other words, at the lifespan of the end of the Sahaba, where many of the Sahaba were passing away, they met them, like Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu, and Ibadah bin Samit, and some others of the Sahaba. This is at the last days of the Sahaba. Then came the Biddah of Irja'. And this was at the time of the Tabi'een. And the Murji'ah we took. They're a group of people who say that action doesn't have anything to do with Iman. And that it doesn't hurt as long as you got Iman. It doesn't hurt whatever sin you commit. They don't believe that Iman increases and decreases. Anta mu'min. You are a believer. And if they're asked, they say, Naam, we are a believer. They don't say, Naam, inshallah. Those who know the correct belief will say, inshallah. Because in order to be a believer, you have to be fulfilling all the obligations and staying away from all those matters that are prohibited. And who is able to say he's doing that? So they say, inshallah, you are a believer. But not these individuals. They're for sure. And I'm mu'min. I'm a believer. Without doing a stiff now. Without any exception to it. So they say, your sin you commit, zina, and fornication, adultery, and stealing, and drinking of wine, and kill, you're still a believer. You are a mu'min kamil iman. Listen to that. You are not only a believer, but you're kamil iman. Perfected in your faith. Your iman is on the level of Jibril, and Israfil, and Abu Bakr. And the most wicked of the people believe, the most wicked of the people, iman, is on the same level as the most righteous of people. This is foolishness. And you are perfect in iman, even if you commit sins. Whereas those upon the sunnah say that if you commit sins, naqsun, there's a deficiency in your iman. And you are a believer with a deficiency in your iman by the fact that you committed that sin. Iman increases and decreases. It increases with obedience and decreases with sin. These fools didn't understand that. Like in Ibn Taymiyyah, the words of the Qadariyyah and the Murji'ah, when it was rejected by the rest of the Sahaba, was in dealing with obedience and the disobedience of a believer, and whether a believer was a believer or also an evildoer or fasiq. None of them talked about the Lord and his qualities. These biddahs that we just talked about, did anybody say anything about Allah? And he doesn't have this, and Allah doesn't have that, and his quality is this. And they didn't talk about Allah. Say what you say about that bid'ah, and it's evil. They did not talk about Allah Ta'ala. So a bid'ah that talks about Allah Ta'ala in an abhorrent way, in a deviant way, is worse than a bid'ah that just talks about the people. You understand this point? فَجَاءَ قَوْمٍ الْأَذْكِيَاءِ There came a people who were the most intelligent. Dhika, Atqiya is intelligent. مِمَّا يَدَّعُونَ أَنَ أَقَلْ مُقَدَّمَ الْوَحْيِ Those who say that intelligence precedes the revelation, supersedes the revelation, is over the revelation. فَقَالُوا قَوْلًا بَيْنَ قَوْلَيْنِ They came and said, I'll say a statement that's between both of these statements. The statement of the Murji'ah and the statement of the Khawarij. Say the Murji'ah that no matter what you do, your iman is cool, do whatever you want to do. Statement of the Khawarij, the sin you commit makes you a disbeliever. We come in the middle. We say, he said, وَقَوْلَ Khawarij, we take how he putting it. The statement of Khawarij is the one who does a kabira, he's not a believer. كما قال Murji'ah. So he said, we say he's not a believer, but he's not a kafir. بل هو في منزلة بين منزلتين. He's between one position, between two positions. He's in the middle. This is a qawl muhdath. It's an innovative statement. He's not a believer, no, he's a kafir. But hereafter, he's in hellfire forever. The one who commits sins from people of Ahl al-Qibla, the Muslim, according to these people, and they are the Mu'tazila. He's not a believer, nor is he a disbeliever, but hereafter, he's in hellfire forever. The end result is that they agree with the Khawarij. فهو في منزل كالرجل سافر المدينة إلى أخرى فصار في أثناء الطريق, like a man traveling to Medina from one city to another, and he's in the middle of his travel. He's not in that particular city, nor the city that he's traveling from, nor is he in the city that he's traveling to, but he's between both of them. This is in the dunya, in this life. We don't say he's a believer. Look at him, oh no, he's not a believer. At the same time, he's not a disbeliever, right? It's foolishness, right? Then in the akhirah, what is he? He's forever in the hellfire. They agree with the Khawarij in the end result, but they differ with them in the life of this world. Brothers, all of this is deviancy. All of it is foolishness. All of it is going away from the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. All of it is going away from Ahl al-Athar. All of it is going away from what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Sahaba are on. ظهرت هذه بدعة. This innovation spread. وانتشرت, appeared and spread. Then came the greatest bid'ah, al-zulmah, the darkest bid'ah, Bid'atul Jahmiyyah. And they are called Jahmiyyah because they are connected to a man by the name of Jahm ibn Safwan. So they are called Jahmiyyah. Jahm ibn Safwan and his followers, they are called al-Jahmiyyah. They brought the bid'ah that had a connection to the names and qualities of Allah. Everyone else was talking about other things. Talking about whether this man is iman or kufr, whether this is this and that and that. This fool had to go to Allah Ta'ala and his names and qualities with his bid'ah. حدثت هذه bid'ah. And this bid'ah is connected to the matters of the names. And what he means is that it's not like connected to rulings and names like we did with the other one, mu'min and kafir or fasik, and manzala bayn manzalatayn, a place between two places. But this has a connection to that, to the Khaliq, to the actual person of Allah. The actual person of Allah. Undur, he said, look how bid'ah tadarrajat, went step by step. In the earlier periods of Islam, after the first 3+ generations, how it came. Until it kept on going, bid'ah after bid'ah after bid'ah after bid'ah, until it reached al-Khaliq, the Creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and talking about the Creator. جَعَلُوا خَالِقْ بِمَنْزَلَةِ الْمَخْلُوقِ, giving the Creator the position of the creation. يَقُولُونَ كَمَا شَاءُوا. They say what they want to say. This is affirmed for Allah. We don't confirm this for Allah. This is not acceptable to the intellect. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't go in accordance with our reason. We can't describe Allah with that. This doesn't make sense to us. This is not acceptable to our intelligence, so we reject it. And we don't describe him with that. So this is a bid'ah of the Jahmiyyah and the Mu'tazilah. So they split into the names and qualities of Allah into many branches. Into many branches. These groups, the Mu'tazilah and the Jahmiyyah, we said they had their leaders. They had their leaders. The head of the Mu'tazilah, just in passing, not that you have to memorize his name and know it, was Wasit ibn Atta. Wasit ibn Atta, very classical in his speech, very elegant, very meticulous, would sit in the circles of that great Imam of Ahl Sunnah in his time, Hassan al-Basri, Rahimahullahom. And we'll be learning from Imam Hassan al-Basri. Then there came a time when a man came and asked the question of Imam Hassan al-Basri regarding this issue, saying, if a believer commits sins, what is he? Amongst them are those who say he is one who is deficient, he is one who is a kafir. And the other one saying that he is total in his iman. What do you say? Hassan al-Basri put down his head to think and to reflect. You don't answer regarding the book of Allah Ta'ala and the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the deen of Allah, without evidence, without something that you know for sure from the deen of Allah. You don't speak without knowledge. So he was about to answer, and he was superseded or preceded by Wasil ibn Atta. Wasil ibn Atta said, I say, Ana aqul, as if he has Ana and Aqul. Indi, as he got an Indi now. Who are you that you got an Indi? Or my viewpoint, or my opinion. So he said, I say that he is in this world, he's neither kafir nor a believer. But he's fi manzala bayna manzalatayn. Look how intelligent he is. Preceded the Imam of Ahl Sunnah, giving an answer before he wasn't even asked of him. Nobody asked him anything. Preceded him and come with this bid'ah. He said, but in hereafter he's forever in hellfire. So Remember Hassan al-Basri looked at him like he was, what's wrong with this man? He got up, started his own corner. Got up, went to his own corner, started teaching. Hassan al-Basri said, "I'tazala anna. I'tazala anna." He has left us. So the name came Mu'tazila. Mu'tazila. And Jahm bin Safwan, he got his thing actually from Jad ibn Dirham, the one who was slaughtered on that great Eid day by Khalid al-Qusari, I believe it was. Slaughtered him. Said, "Oh people, do your slaughtering, and may Allah Ta'ala accept your slaughtering, for I'm going to slaughter Jad ibn Dirham. For he said Allah did not take Ibrahim as a Khalil, and he said Allah did not speak to Musa." So he slaughtered him in front of all the believers. And as Ibn Qayyim said, everybody was pleased with that qurbani. The qurbani, that which is you slaughtered to bring you near to Allah. All the believers, nobody flexed, nobody had a second thought about it. Okay, let's go on and slaughter these animals. Hakada. Okay, the Sheikh, Rahimahullah rahmatun wasi', is giving us something that I wonder, are we ready for yet? Or maybe I should come back to it. Because it's Asma wa SAffat, you don't play. You have to be on clarity. And before you can get on clarity, right? Before you can get on clarity, you have to study the usul, the basic principles of it. So it doesn't do any good for me to bring shubuhat and doubts, and there's not a strong foundation there first. Strong foundation there first regarding this issue. So in this regard, everybody can get involved now. Anybody who wants to raise their hand can talk. How do we believe in the names and qualities of Allah, Tabarak wa Ta'ala? And I say this because the Sheikh is going to get into the doubts of the shubuhat of the Ash'ariyah, the Maturidiyah, the Jahmiyyah, the Mu'tazila. And we, have to make sure we are sound upon the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah first. So anybody who wants to, I'm not trying to just spring something on you. Anybody who wants to can basically tell us what is our belief regarding Tawheed, Asma wa SAffat. لكي نكون على بصيرة, so we be upon clarity. تفضل. بس نعم. That's the echo. Break it down, brother. I'm not speaking tongues here. Example like what? Similarity, you mean? Let's strip it from the Arabic for a second. Just for our brothers, because we have brothers who are new. You say ta'atil, it's like saying tahrif to him. Say tahrif, it's like saying tamthil. I mean, right. And give an example, barakallahu feekum. This is the what? That's playing with the book of Allah, playing with the attributes, you're saying. So, in other words, taking the words, the hands of Allah, removing them, and then putting your own interpretation. This is right. This is what is called tahrif or la'b, playing with the words of Allah. It's actually called la'b by the scholars. It's actually called la'b. La'b. You know la'b. You play a lot. La'b. This is what it's called, seriously. I mean, we have to be up on clarity. The brother is saying that we avoid 4 pitfalls. He said, without ta'ateed, which is denying the names and qualities of Allah. Without tamtheel, which is giving similarity to Allah. And saying Allah is like his creatures. Without tahrif, which is changing the meanings. And without taqyeed, which is asking how. So rather than say it in Arabic, maybe we should say it in English so that everyone understands what we want. You see? هذا من حكمة في التعليل. And so, believing the names and qualities of Allah Ta'ala, as it has been described, as Allah has described himself in what? His book. And as the Prophet ﷺ has described him in the Sunnah. Without what? Without making similarities. What's the ayah for that? Have to have your dalil. Constitution of Ahlul Sunnah in this area. Laysa kamithlihi shay. There is nothing like him, and he is Sami'un Basir, or hearing or seeing. It gaps between 2 things here. It affirms qualities for Allah that he hears and he sees, and it denies that it's like his hearing and seeing is like anything or anyone's. There's other ayat like that. فَلَا تَضْرِبُوا لِلَّهِ الْأَمْثَالِ. Don't you make for Allah any similarity. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And there is not for him what? Anyone or anything similar to him. كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. You say all time, so they class. Huh? هَلْ تَعْلَمُ لَهُ سَمِيَّةٌ. Surah Maryam. Do you know one who has the right to have his name, who is similar to him? All of these are qualities saying that there's nothing similar to Allah. And we're not even to imagine Allah's qualities. Because we have been forbidden from doing that. وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِهِ عِلْمًا. And you will not be able to encompass him with your knowledge. So don't try. Whatever you imagine, you will be falling into a great crime. That crime is called tashbih. Making Allah similar between him and his creatures. Because whatever you imagine is makhluk, creation. And Allah Ta'ala is the creator. So whatever you imagine in your mind to be Allah Ta'ala, whatever you imagine, trying to imagine the qualities of Allah Ta'ala, you fall into a very haram act called tashbih, making Allah similar to his creatures. This is very important knowledge, brothers. Very, very important knowledge, because the illness of tashbih is the illness that many of us was raised up on, thinking God is a man and man is a God, giving qualities of God, the creator, to the creatures and the creatures to creator. This is hard to remove from the heart and the minds if one is raised upon that. If one's fitrah has been, has deviated and has been tarnished and has been changed. This is hard to do, but it's something we're ordered to do. We're ordered to understand that we can make similarities for Allah. Anything that comes in your mind that has a similarity in your mind with Allah Ta'ala and his creatures, you have to say, A'udhu Billah. You have to make isti'aza, seek refuge in Allah Ta'ala. For laysa kamithlihi shay. There's nothing similar to him. فَلَا تَضْرِبُوا لِلَّهِ الْأَمْثَالِ. Don't you make similarities to Allah. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And there is not for Allah anyone similar, anything similar to him. And we cut off the taqyeed, the how. Akhi, barakallahu feek. Irham nafsik. Be merciful to yourself. You have within your body something called the ruh. And if I were to ask you to describe it, its shape, its fashion, its form, its weight, its color, you could not. Impossible. And that's a creature. That's something created by Allah Ta'ala. So what about the creator? Men have just begun to understand what makes the grass green. So don't try. Know Allah Ta'ala by his beautiful names and most highest qualities. Know Allah Ta'ala by what he provides and what he gives and what he shows us of his virtue, of his bounty, of what he does to the creatures. Know Allah Ta'ala by all of that, but don't try to think that there's a similarity between Allah and his creatures. This will come up more. But I wanted to make sure that before we got into anything heavy, until our brothers get lost in the woods and can't see the forest for the trees, Because we get buckled down and get into ta'til and tahrif. And then when someone asks, you don't know what it is. That's not the purpose. Al-maqsood, the purpose is ma'arifatillah, to know Allah, to know Tawheed, to have this Tawheed settled in your hearts, in our hearts, settled in all of our hearts, and to die upon this Tawheed, and to meet Allah Ta'ala with this Tawheed. That doesn't come through our falsafa, philosophy. Brother can run down ta'til and tamthil and tahrif and taqyif, oh yeah, throw in tashbih, you know. And then you say, what is it? He can't explain it at all. It's a very simple matter. Believe in Allah as He has described Himself in His book, because no one is more knowledgeable about Allah than Allah. As Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, أَأَنْتُمْ أَعْلَمْ أَمِ اللَّهِ, do you have more knowledge or Allah? So no one knows Allah better than Allah. Believe in Allah as the Prophet ﷺ has described in the Sunnah. Because there's none from the creatures who has more knowledge regarding Allah amongst the creatures. None have more knowledge after Allah regarding Allah than Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And you read it in Surah Al-Najm, وَمَا يَنْتِقَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. He does not speak of his desires. إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. It is nothing but revelation revealed. So whatever he says about Allah is because Allah revealed it to him. It has to be there, this belief. So what Allah Ta'ala says about Himself in the book is over. It's done. It's understood in a manner that befits His majesty and His greatness. And whatever the Prophet ﷺ says about Allah in the Sunnah, it's a done deal. It's over. It's understood in a manner that befits Allah Ta'ala's majesty. Knowing that there's nothing similar to Allah. Knowing that there's nothing that we can imagine. We can imagine that would be like Allah Ta'ala. Knowing that the creatures are not similar to Allah and Allah is not similar to the creatures. That when the qualities are connected to Allah, they are on one level, and when they are connected to the creatures, they're on another level. And not asking how, because you're not going to be able to achieve that. You're not going to be able to understand that. Allah said a long time ago, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِهِ عِلْمًا. You will not encompass Him with your knowledge. How are you going to encompass Allah Ta'ala? You're a fool. How? No. But rather, عَلَيْكَ بِالتَّسْلِيمِ. Upon you is to submit and to believe in whatever Allah says about Himself and whatever the Prophet says about Allah in the Sunnah, without asking how and trying to imagine equality, without giving similarity between Allah and His creatures. Know that it's kufr to believe that Allah Ta'ala is like His creatures. When they say, إِنَّهُ قَوْلَ al-Basri, that is the statement of a man. Allah says, what? They will go to the sucker. They will go to the hellfire. This is kufr. This is kufr to believe that Allah Ta'ala is similar to His creatures. There's nothing, no one, nothing like Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Nothing similar like Allah. Nothing similar to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. This has to be aqidah rasikha. An aqidah, a belief deeply in the heart. Deeply in the heart. So this is a mukhtasar saghiran, very small, abridged version of our aqidah regarding Allah Ta'ala and His names and qualities. And there will come more. But before the Sheikh sometimes he'll get to the shubuhat because he feels he's talking many times to those who have some khalfiyyah, some background in this issue. And even though, it exists those who have it, plenty of them, alhamdulillah, fi balad al-haramain, we don't have a lot of people who have this background here. They understand Aqidah Wasittiyah is some translation that some sururi did. That's it. Aqidah Wasittiyah is something somebody had on a tape one day. They get it off of Salafi pub. Or they get it off of this, or they get off of that. What I mean by this is that they did not study it from a text of a sheikh or a scholar, or from the tapes of a sheikh or a scholar, or in the circles of the sheikh or a scholar. وَفَاقِدَ الشَّيْء لَا يُعْطِي. And the one who does not possess something cannot give it. The one who does not possess something cannot give it. So this is the issue that we have to be about. And this may happen often that the sheikh wants to go detailed and we might go short. But inshallah ta'ala we still make it to the touchdown. Huh? I'm going to leave you alone. Don't bother you. على كل حال هكذا. Next time when we get to talking about this issue, and then let's just some questions before we go on. Now, if there's anything unclear, brothers, don't feel in any way self-conscious. If there's anything unclear about what has been said, if you don't want to present it here in front of everybody, then later on come and approach and ask. Because clarity, this is the most important thing we want to have in these durus. Clarity. You know, as the ayah says, so those who lived upon clarity, and those who died upon clarity. Upon clarity. It doesn't make no sense to sit in a circle about Aqidah, the most beautiful, most spectacular belief, most dynamic belief ever revealed to mankind, and come out of here and don't understand it. No. So you, in that case, you will blame the teacher, or blame the book, or blame yourself. And I say, rather than throw all the blame around, just ask. Anything that's not clear, we can talk about. So that was a brief chronological history of Biddah, and how it eventually went step by step until it got to the actual person of Allah, and he started talking about Allah Ta'ala. Then he's going to talk about the manner in which people have differed in this matter. But before we do that, we'll just start with Bismillah. The first matter of Aqidah Wasittiyah, we'll start with the book. We'll start with the actual, we're not out of the introduction, into Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah alladhi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa din al-haq, liyudhhirahu ala din kullih, wa kafa billahi shahidan, to where he starts. So this is what we'll do, and then once we get to Asma and SAffat, as he has explained it to us in some great detail, we'll go back into the shubuhat, the doubts that people throw out there, and what the deviants believe. I think it's very important that we know what we believe before we know what the deviants believe. A lot of our brothers want to refute what the deviants believe without having an understanding of what we believe. You know, be firm and strong in what you believe, and it won't bother you what a deviant believes. So that's what we're doing, inshaAllah ta'ala. So as of Tuesday, not Monday. Is that what it is? Or Wednesday? What is it? Wednesday? Yeah, okay. Wednesday. We'll start with the actual text of Shar Aqidah Wasittiyah, inshaAllah ta'ala. And we hope that the intro that we've done was of some benefit. You know, life of Ibn Taymiyyah, life of Ibn Uthaymin, and the aspects of Tawheed and like this. But now it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty, as they say.